All right, welcome back. Linkage institutions, activities of interest groups. All right, so we have 5 basic activities in addition to the different types of lobbying, and we're going to go through each of these slide by slide. All right, they organize protests. That one is pretty self-explanatory. So an interest group, they want to, you have different ones here. Greenpeace, you have some kind of group that is anti-fracking, again, some kind of environmental group probably. You have some gun control supporters in the bottom right-hand corner. So organize protests, mobilize people, get them out there to do something to bring attention to your cause. They can create PACs, political action committees. This is a hugely important one, creating PACs. They create the PAC. The purpose of the PAC is to raise money, so we could also say that interest groups make campaign contributions. So that's about it. Lots and lots of money. So interest groups do that also. They also endorse candidates. So again, the NRA, not only do interest groups try to tell congressmen, hey, just do this, vote yes or no on this bill, but they also tell their members, the citizens, people like you and I, who to vote for in the election. So here you have, on the left-hand side, where the NRA has given a letter grade to a bunch of candidates. And so if a candidate has an F, they're telling you that candidate's terrible. Don't vote for that person. They are not a supporter of gun rights. On the top, you have a guy with an A+, Greg Steube, or whoever he is. And what that's telling you is vote for this guy. He is endorsed by the NRA. They're telling you, this is a guy that you can trust. He will protect your gun rights. And you see the same thing on the right-hand side. The NRA endorsing this guy, Kurt Schrader. So if gun rights is the most important issue to you, then this would make your choice really easy, and you don't even have to really do much of your own research for an election. Just vote for who the NRA tells you to vote. GOTV, that means get out the vote. Get out the vote. And so they work on this as well, because again, if they convince people that their side is right, so we need to protect gun rights, or we need to have pro-choice judges, or whatever the issue is, that's good, but it doesn't matter unless people actually go out and vote for candidates who have that same opinion. So getting out the vote, they call. They have these robocalls, which is an automated call that, we get those. West Broward sends those out from time to time, reminding you about meetings. Same thing, except these calls are designed to remind you to go vote for the candidates that they want you to vote for. They will literally transport people to the polls. So they'll have a bus full, and they'll take that bus around, and you'll get on the bus. They'll take you to the polling place, bring you back home. So people who don't have cars, especially elderly people, can't drive. They will get them to be able to vote. So the idea is making sure that your supporters actually go and vote, and that's a pretty important one too. They also make advertisements, so it can be commercials, it can be billboards, and so these are just a couple of examples of ones. So they advertise, again, to make their side seem right, or maybe scare you about the other side. All right, a couple other things, just basically housekeeping at this point. Free riders and revolving door. Free riders we will talk about much later in this course. A free rider is a person who benefits from the work that an interest group does without actually joining the group. So free rider, you can picture this. You've all been in a group, so you've had a group project in school at some point, and there has been a free rider in your group. And that person, they don't do anything, but because the rest of your group actually cares at least a little bit about your grade and doesn't want to get a 0, you guys do the project, and the free rider, he gets the grade also. So that can be a problem for interest groups, because just like it can be a problem for you and your group, that kind of serves to motivate you less, doesn't it? And so this can hurt interest groups, because if they can't convince people to join, they lose money because they need money to function. So this is a problem for them. All right, revolving door is much more important. I would highlight the revolving door. So I actually don't have a picture here, which is shocking. But you can picture like the revolving door, like in a hotel. A lot of times they'll have those in the front. So it's like that door where you push it and it goes around in a circle. So the idea of this revolving door is that on one side of the door is Congress, and on the other side of the door is an interest group, or our interest groups. And so what happens is a lot of congressmen, about half of all congressmen in fact, Once they leave Congress, they go out through the door leaving Congress and they go right into an interest group and become a lobbyist. And this is seen as being a very negative thing by the public. Again, the reason for this, so we have all these people, they were working in Congress and now they become a lobbyist. On the bottom right hand corner, you see this image. It says politicians who become lobbyists get a 1,400% pay raise. So they make a lot more money when they go become a lobbyist. Well, why is that worrisome? Because, Americans believe, hey, go get rich, that's fine, and they're not a politician anymore. The worry is that while they are a politician and they are in Congress, that they are angling to get a job in the future. So as a result, rather than voting the way that they believe is right or the way that their constituents want them to vote, instead they're voting in ways to please an interest group so that when they leave Congress, they'll have this nice, fat, cushy job and get a whole lot of money from the interest group as a lobbyist. And that is a very upsetting thought. So how do we regulate congressional lobbyists? So we're going to do some things to try to limit that problem. One is that they must register with the government, so we have to know who they are. They must report their earnings, so we have to know how much they make. Again, because all this seems kind of shady and on the verge of, government not doing its job. And somebody like Bernie Sanders, he would say that this is a massive problem. So we need to know as much as we can about them. He probably would want to go a little bit further and maybe even ban them, but that's not where we are at this point anyway. Gifts to members of Congress are banned. So in the past, they used to give them gifts. So the NRA lobbyists would buy, a congressman a free vacation, send them to Hawaii or to Rome or Paris or something like that. They're not allowed to do that anymore. And they have tried to limit the revolving door by instituting a waiting period. And so it's 2 years. I didn't put that there. You should put that 2 years. So from when you leave Congress, you have to wait 2 years until you can become a lobbyist. Again, to try to limit that problem at least a little bit. Interest groups are most likely to have success making small, incremental changes to policy. So again, I want you to think of like abortion rights. So think of, we're going to do the pro-life side. Pro-life interest group. While they would love to overturn Roe versus Wade and ban abortion, that's not realistically going to happen right now in this country. So rather than try to make a huge, massive shift, they can make small, incremental changes. So instead of banning abortion, what their goal would be is, all right, it's going to be legal, but let's make it tougher. Let's limit access. Let's make it more difficult. Let's put a little waiting period on there. Or let's limit the number of abortion clinics that there are. Or let's limit the amount of time, like when an abortion can be obtained. So that's the kind of thing. It's a smaller incremental change, and that's where they'll be successful. Not making some massive change or like banning guns, but it would be, banning certain types of magazine or whatever. So that's where they're going to be more successful. I would highlight that one. They are more powerful and they have more members. That stands to reason because the more members they have, the more voting power they have. And then people with higher income, higher education, they are more likely to be represented by interest groups. Again, that makes sense too because people with higher income, higher education, they have more resources, more time available to do that sort of thing. So they are overrepresented compared to minorities, compared to lower income and lower educated persons. This has been a Lamani production.